The Warriors are standing pat as the Curry era reaches another crossroads. So I want to tell you what stood out to me about this article written by Anthony Slater today.
Slates. Kind
of chronicling what everyone has been feeling, right? To me, it feels like the Warriors are saying all the things that the fans don't want to hear, but they may need to, right? So,
and we're living through 37 wins.
You're going to be forced to live through.
Missed the playoffs 2 or 3. Go ahead.
Potentially again. Steve Kerr says you have to understand your place in the league and where everybody else is at and what the future looks like. We're in a position now where we can be thinking of development, not just for Yaxel, but for our whole group. We're not in the championship conversation. And Steph, after the loss against the Suns, and I know he's got a big decision coming up in a month, but can we build the foundation again? Their focus is not on maximizing the present at the cost of the future.
Well, I don't want to say uncanny or strange coming from Kerr, because we talk about Curry and where he's at and his chances, have they dwindled? We haven't talked about Steve Kerr. If he means that, and this team can't get better or healthier than they were last year or even get a playoff series, damn, Steve, the last 2 on your watch are going to be like futile. Like, oh my gosh, like, hey, I ain't hating on Steve, but damn, it sounds like he's resigned to where we ain't it, and I got a couple years left, and we might not be it on my watch.
Well, one thing that I find funny is they're resetting a lot of things, right? It feels like they're resetting their books. It feels like they might be, resetting down the line of what they want to do, draft picks, all the rest. But fans can't seem to reset their expectations.
Well, I think he said Daryl, but because that hit home, I'm with you. But
it seems like you're still expecting this team to go out there and just be a Warriors team of old. It's like, now they are a Warriors team that is old.
And they're hurt.
Well, hopefully
Jimmy and Moody is big.
Yeah, Jimmy Moody. You're
going to start the year without those reinforcements, right?
Well, that was another thing we learned from this. Okay, so everyone wanted them to make a move, and that's all well and good. They chose De'Anthony Melton over Anfernee Simmons. So they chose to spend $11 million on him instead of Simmons. Good move, bad move. Right. To me, it's a lateral thing. They tried to sign Rui Hachimura, but they wouldn't have been able to reach the 2-year, $28 million contract that he got from the Clippers unless they dumped Moses Moody and they got Draymond Green to take a pay cut, which was something that he only was willing to do contingent on a LeBron James arrival. So there wasn't as much optionality and flexibility this summer as it sounds like everyone was expecting them to have. Like, they tried to do things, and no one wants to hear that. I understand. But this idea that they could go out and upgrade their roster, and we've been talking about it, it doesn't feel like that was going to be the case unless it was LeBron James.
Yeah, and, it's pretty much over. The club is closed. I'll still never understand, and I wish I could walk in a room with Lacob and Mike Dunleavy in there and Steve Kerr and say, how the hell, and again, you could tell me let it go, Goo, but I can't right now, E, because I'm hurting. We're hurting. How the hell could you look at Jaylen Brown and not think that guy could change the immediate and the future? Like, what am I missing about the Warriors brand, style, where Steph's at, how Jaylen Brown would help and ease the responsibilities of Steph with this runner's knee? Again, I'm a fan from afar, but I just don't understand how you could look at a guy that could damn near average 30 points, 28 points, Jaylen Brown, NBA Finals MVP, and kind of say, you know what, Evan? He doesn't fit what we got going on here, to where you don't even call.
Well, that was also talked about. The Boston Celtics called the Warriors near the draft. They were looking for 4 firsts and a first-round pick swap.
I gotcha.
In order to go get then Giannis Antetokounmpo. Like, this is another part, too, that I think is I'm starting to realize that, like, the Warriors are in a very fragile place. And I think a lot of fans, and it sounds like media members, want them to act not aggressively, but desperately. People are desperate for Steph to not go out the way that Kobe Bryant did, the way that Dirk Nowitzki did, the way that, if you want to throw D-Wade in there.
I love you. So are those people named Lacob and Mike Dunleavy? Because it doesn't seem like that.
I don't think they are.
So then I am right with my assessment of what Tim Kawakami shared with us, his thoughts, that Joe Lacob and company are worried about life after Steph.
No, but desperate acts oftentimes lead to unwise decisions, and I think that's what the Warriors are trying to be. It may not end up being correct, and I'm not saying what they're doing is going to lead them to a championship in 5 years, but they're trying to act wisely instead of out of desperation. To me, like the Anthony Davis pipe dream when bringing in LeBron, like that's what desperate teams do. Going out and spending everything you have for one last ride, that is desperation. And I do not think that that's a wise choice for the Warriors, and I don't think that's how they're looking at this. Like,
wow,
they would have parted with the 11th pick in that deal. They would not have Yaxel Lendeborg. They would not have access to their first-round picks for the next 8 years. And then you look at the Davis situation. It's like the guy that runs Washington right now, Michael Winger, was the general manager of the Clippers who traded away Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and all those first-round picks to try and get a super team together. Like, that's the move that teams that are desperate make, and it can leave you in disarray to the point where the Clippers now are trying to recoup a bunch of crap. And Michael Winger has a different job. Like those are moves that get people fired.
And had he had the foresight to know SGA was going to be SGA, that deal's not done.
Well, clearly he didn't have the foresight because he's a multi-time MVP and champion.
Yeah, and again, right now to me, and I love the conversation. You know, it hurts, but the bottom line is, and I know we got sound from Draymond speaking. People think Steph thinks this way. I won't even ruin it. But the bottom line is, all that matters to me is how he's thinking. And again, my motto, and it's been that, I'm never going to get more upset or disappointed for something where the other party, the subject matter like Steph, is okay with it. And I just don't think the Steph is okay with this offseason, where they're at. And I guess the proof will be in the pudding when we find out what happens with this extension. How much does he take? How much does he leave? Do they just table it? So, you know, there is a branch to this to where Evan, I hope Steph Curry puts some pressure on the front office, and maybe he doesn't need to, and they've all realized we're going to try our best, our damnness, this upcoming season, but if it doesn't work out, the books reset, and boy, we got bread, and watch out.
Well, let's hear what Slater told the morning show here today about what Steph Curry's thinking.
I mean, theoretically, but, you know, I reported it in that story. Shams has been saying it. There remains mutual interest between both sides on, you know, come August 29th when he becomes extension eligible on, you know, beefing up that contract, you know, a year or 2 years. That's what he's eligible for, 1 or 2. Maybe you could make the argument from both sides, hey, like it's for financial flexibility and roster building purposes, hold off on it, and you can kind of like figure some stuff out down the line. But no, I personally sense that there's not like a level of pressure he's putting on the franchise at this point. I think.
And is that, I mean, how does that make you feel though? Because people are.
It makes me down.
Well, people care more than he does.
And we love Slate's, you know, family. But the bottom line is that could all be changing. It could have changed just a couple of days ago. But when we played the sound from Tahoe where Steph was like, he never got it. It doesn't sound like the chef got his hopes up that his boy was coming here. So, yeah, I was disappointed because I'm boo-boo the fool, and I was believing all the tea leaves. But it sounded like Steph Kerr thought that there was never a chance. So I'm thinking, oh, man, just pile that on Disappointment City. Shout out Thrive. But it sounds like Steph, you know, that wasn't a deal breaker. But the bottom line is, did they improve? And right now, from my vantage point, the Golden State Warriors don't look like they've improved, E. And that's a problem, especially in the West. I could give you 8 teams right now to where I'm like, Evan, if I asked you who are they, like Portland right now, would you rather be in Portland situation or the Warriors? And I could go down the list.
I mean, actually, I wouldn't want to be in Portland right now because they got an owner that's trying to move their team.
Major league, yeah.
The Portland Trailblazers are going through something else. Yeah, it's like we're talking about ownership. Like Joe Lacob, for all of his faults and all the things that he may not be great at, he is not trying to. He moved the Golden State Warriors to San Francisco, but he tried to put them in a better position. He's not trying to do what they're doing in Portland. Yeah,
and I mentioned this yesterday, one of my favorite movies, and we talked about A Few Good Men, but there was no sequel. Star Wars 1. It was a classic. But
Phantom Menace.
But look at you. But you know what they had after? Empire Strikes Back. That was part 2. So Joey Light Years, we need to see part 2. When does it start? He smiled.
Well, technically, you're talking about episode 4 and episode 5.
Hey, you know what?
They did it in reverse.
It was the second one I ever seen. So
yeah, The Empire Strikes Back.
But where's Joey Lightyear's part 2? Where's that at, E? It was I did not see it this whole offseason. And I just guess, man, this is when I wish some big dog or somebody could get a one-on-one with Joe Lacob and just talk about what happened. How does he feel about what happened? Was this planned? And the confidence level or meter that he has getting this team back in contention. Where's Joey Lightyears?
Well, actually, I got to walk some of them back that I said yesterday because I was kind of curious about whether this team was in alignment about, going all in or, not feeling like they're on the same page.
Is this an addendum to what you said?
I do think this front office is in alignment. I do. I think that Steve Kerr, Mike Dunleavy, and Joe Lacob are all on the same page. I think they're on the same page that there was not enough that they could do this offseason that was going to change their fortune once Jimmy Butler and Moses Moody got hurt. And so what they have decided to do is something that it might be risky. Some might call it bold because they're not doing anything. What they're acting with, Goo, is patience.
But they did
one thing.
People
don't want patience. People want results.
Especially when you come off a season that didn't culminate in a playoff series. But I got to be careful here. And I know you, Willard and Dibbs, and I talked about it like, not speaking for Willard and Dibbs, but they were like the Draymond contract is pretty much kind of the same. Nothing really popped off. But I think something popped off, and I want to give the Warriors front office this. I feel like they drew a line in the sand and didn't give out extra years to Draymond Green when I was expecting it, Evan. So maybe that is a glimpse of some things to come here in the future. But I feel like having Draymond Green come back on a 1-year deal when it could have been multiple, that's a start. And I didn't think they had the guts to do it. They did it. We'll see what happens. But I do got to give them that credit of shocking me and maybe sticking their chest out to Draymond like, dude, you're coming back on 1 year, and we'll play it by ear.
888-957-9570 is the number. When you hear this, you have to understand your place in this league and where everybody else is and what your future looks like. Mike is a smart and prudent guy. He understands the landscape. Joe's in agreement on that. We're all pretty much on the same page of just being wise. Like, how does that's not enough for a lot of people. But to me, that's the right path for right now because you can make a choice down the line. But if you strip yourself of choice and it doesn't work, then what do you have?
Okay, but what if and this is not fair, and I brought this up the other day, what if you blow these picks? But that's not fair, and it doesn't apply to this conversation, but there's going to be a day we can fast forward and say, okay, you held on to the picks. You didn't like Jaylen Brown because the price was too steep. I lightweight get that, E. But are we so sure you're going to get your next Steph, Clay, or Dre in this next iteration of these draft picks? Like, is Mike Dunleavy the guy? Are we so sure to get it right? And I just think that's fair to have questions. But you said the right now. When does the right now end? After this upcoming season? Because I'm talking myself into getting excited. Steiny, again, will be proud. I'm getting excited about fast-forwarding this season with low expectations for the first time ever for your boy. And we get to the point where the books reset. And then at that juncture, it's like there are no excuses then, right, Evan? When you have money and let's go.
I'm with you on that. I think in 2027, if you're telling us that this offseason is a sacrificial lamb for next year.
And maybe it won't be.
Well, then there better be action next year. And that's to me when the hammer comes down. It's like they've told us with their actions and their books that next year is going to be big for them. And if it's not, well, then we got to ask questions about where we're going because they keep kicking this can down the road. But I just feel like right now, the idea of patience because of the 37 wins, because you got bounced in the play-in, that's something that nobody wants to hear. But, Goo, what if Yaxel Lendeborg looks like a player? I don't mean a superstar, but he looks like he can help you. He looks like a good player. He played well in the summer league.
That's not enough.
You got to give him a chance.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's just say he's an A+ on the season. You still need where this team is and what I deem devoid of talent. You still need more. You need more Yaxels.
You do need more Yaxels, but how do you get them? You don't get them by trading picks. You don't get them by giving everything up for 30-year-olds, for players that are not 25 and younger. The Warriors have to get younger. and they can't do it in one offseason.
If I were to, it's kind of unfair, but if I were to ask you right now to make a bet, not the play-in, you get through the play-in and you get a playoff series. If I said the Warriors this upcoming season are going to be a playoff team, would you take that bet?
Well, are they going to be a playoff team?
To where they get a series. I got so many question marks. I'm 50-50, and I hate that.
I think they can be a playoff team, yeah. They absolutely can.
And they could have been one last year. They weren't. But Steph missed 40-some games.
But what if Steph comes back, he has a good year, Jimmy comes back, all the things that they want to go well in terms of injury luck, it falls in their favor. They make a playoff series.
And I'll say they got it right then.
Well, okay, they got it right, but then they also can get better. Okay, so if you go out and get a guy and you spend all your bread and you spend all your trade capital to get somebody that helps you get to the postseason, well, what next? Because that's what we're going to ask 365 days from now. Let's say they have their dude and they make the postseason. We're going to be asking the same questions. We're going to be asking, how do you get better? How do you get Steph back a chance to win another championship? How do you go get number 5? And the reality is you can't. But if they showed that this year they have a little more left in the tank, well, then you can go out and spend everything next offseason. You can go out and spend and go and bring in guys to help Steph make one last push.
You may have a roster with no Jimmy Butler or Draymond Green.
That's true, and that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Because Jimmy Butler's going to be 38 years old, and Draymond's going to be 37.
Yeah, I hear you.
888-957-9570 is the number. JB is in Fremont. Hey, what's up, JB? How you doing?
My friends, how you doing?
Hey.
I just wanted to call and give Guru, just, let him kind of take him down a little bit so he's not so upset about the LeBron situation. And this is how I saw it. So if you look at some of the highlights from the Lakers, you'll see in the beginning where they have the tip-off, this guy's not even jumping up. He's just walking away. I don't think, if you look at the Lakers players, you don't hear anybody that's saying, hey, we wish he would stay. The fans probably did, but even his own teammates. I mean, the guy had his own little area in a locker room. So now we think, everybody's waiting 2-3 weeks because we think we're going to get LeBron. And what will wind up happening is, let's just say that we score 30 points a quarter, and LeBron's going to come out there with Anthony Davis feeding him the ball all the time, and he scores 15 points. What happens when now he has to leave the game because he's 41 years old, and he has to leave the game? Can the team now either make up those points, or does LeBron have to come in and say, you know what, I was scoring 15 points, but now I've got to score 20 for us to be competitive? And the guy's 41 years old. It's like Mike Tyson in the beginning. He was knocking out people 24 in a row. But at the end, it wasn't the same Mike. And that's how I kind of felt about, LeBron. And I think one of the reasons why he went to the 76ers, because he's got backup guys. Yeah, there's ego there.
Yep.
But he's got backup guys where we didn't have it. But I honestly, maybe we might not win a championship this year coming up. But a lot of those games are really close. And I think if we could just step it up a little bit, get some rebounds, I think we'd be more competitive down the line. So we can get some good players, younger players.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
I got you, JB.
How you
And I'll just real quick, Evan, maybe as we get closer to opening night and we essentially are running it back, and you're telling me the Red Cross will be on our side and they go do what the Niners did with all their injuries and win 12 games and shock us, because I'm still shocked at what the Niners did with the injuries. Okay, if that's how they see it, I'll tell you what, I'm not one of those, I thought it was going to be a bad year and not enjoy it. I'm going to be the first at the line like, I didn't see it, Bob, but okay, let's go.
Was this the Warriors' plan all along to do what many people has described accurately as nothing? Here's Anthony Slater.
Pretty much, not that they didn't explore other stuff. Again, I put in there, there was definitely a Anfernee Simmons or De'Anthony Melton type conversation. They preferred Melton. Rui Hachimura is the guy that they looked at. They wouldn't have gone to the full, mid-level type number that they were willing to get to for LeBron, because again, that would have cost probably Moses Moody on a trade, and then, a Draymond pay cut that clearly Draymond was executing only for LeBron James. So there was outside free agents explored. I don't know every trade conversation that happened. There were certainly names that they talked about, but generally, yeah. I mean, like, their priorities were bringing back their guys. I mean, you could tell that to the point that Porzingis and Horford were done before free agency started. I don't know if y'all remember. That was like June 26th and June 28th or something like that.
So it sounds like this was plan A, plan B, and plan C.
Yeah, I hear slates, and I'm looking at you, man, and I just got to be honest like I always am. I just think there's no way in hell this was their plan. They thought they were going to get something.
Well, who?
Giannis. And I know that was before the season ended. We were down there at Radio Row. I could sit here and say, why did Dre opt out? But what really, he didn't cost himself anything. You know what I mean? It was just, maybe he thought they had a puncher's chance. But okay, if this is it, Michael Jackson, let's go and see what they do. But I'll tell you what, if we have to endure Dub Nation another season of no playoffs, I would be disappointed in Steph for saying that's okay. And Steve Kerr, for that matter. You got a 2-year deal, and right now, this is how you want to go out. But they might be listening to me right now like, Goo, we're better than what you think we're going to be without doing a damn thing.
Well, they might be better than a 37-win team, but odds are that's not going to be good enough. That's not going to be good enough to play and win a playoff series. I don't know what the expectations are for the Warriors next season. I have no clue. Like, going into next year, I don't think it should be high at all. What are they trying to do? It sounds like they're trying to focus on development. They're trying to get a Axel Lindeborg, get him in here, play him, see if he can be a dude for you, and then go from there. Like, they're moving towards starting from scratch again. And if an opportunity presents itself in the meantime, and this is it, like, I'm not saying they can't deviate from this plan, but the plan or the deviation would be like, oh, LeBron James is available. Well, let's try to go for him. If we can't get him, we'll continue to go down this path, because he's not someone that's going to wholesale change everything.
Yeah.
It would just be a year, be a small amount of money, and it wouldn't cost you anything.